Yeah,
So
we'll
like I
maybe
said,
go
we'll
ahead and
just
get started. We have a few people join us, which is great. There may be a few
woo.
more people who do come along, so that's fine. We're going to record this so we can share it with people afterwards. But to those of you who have joined us, we want to give you a really warm welcome to our Celtic Tides and Vintage Vines teaser session. My name is Tyler. I'm the owner of Expedia Cruises in Scarborough. And we're delighted that you have joined us to hear about this exciting trip that we are super looking forward to. And we have some great things to talk about. We're going to give you a sense of what the cruise is all about, the ships, the itinerary, and of course, we have some amazing guests with us. First of all, we have Dale Miller, who is my partner in the business. He's a vacation consultant, a cruise sales manager, and he and I are going to be co-hosting this trip with our guests. And we are super excited to have Heather Rankin and Jimmy Rankin here with us this evening to give us their insights about what this trip means about to them. So we are super happy to welcome all of you, and we'll hear from Jimmy and Heather a little bit later. But for those of you who have joined, please do follow along. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Or if you want to connect one-on-one, we're certainly happy to do that after the session this evening to answer any questions that you have. But this trip is super, super exciting for us. Dale and I like to, every couple of years, put together a really unique trip for guests to enjoy so that they can get up close to entertainers or some of the people that they really hold close to their hearts. And we wanted to partner with Heather Rankin and some of her friends. And so when we were thinking about how we were going to put this together, we had to figure out who we were going to do it with a cruise company. And so AMA Waterways was just a natural choice for us because they are our go-to river cruise company. They consistently offer a great elevated experience. And then we were trying to think, okay, how do we kick it up a level? How do we make it even better? So we decided to charter or do a partial charter on their brand new ship, the Emma Sophia, which isn't even in the water yet. It's currently being constructed. And then we're like, okay, well, that's not good enough. We need to do better. So we decided to make it a wine immersion sailing. So we're going to tell you what that means. And then, of course, we invited Heather Rankin and all of her friends to join us. What could be more fun than that? So we're going to give you a taste of what it's all about. I'm actually going to just turn off my video here so that you can hopefully see the full screen in full screen. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into what this is all about. So I love showing the screen. Dale, give me a thumbs up. Can you see the screen okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Perfect.
great.
Awesome. I love showing this screen because there's probably a pretty good chance that some of you have ocean cruised on some of those big ocean liners before. But river cruising is completely different. And this just gives you a little taste of what that looks like because on a river cruise, you are always within sight of land. And there's a different port of call each and every day. Generally we arrive in port at breakfast and we stay right through until dinner with late nights and sometimes overnights in the ports of call. And the nice thing about river cruising is that these are much smaller vessels. So there's only going to be about 155 people on this beautiful ship. And so just a much smaller, more casual, intimate experience. And so, as I lead you through this, we'll maybe start with the ship and the accommodations. So this brand new ship, Ama Sophia, it's going to be launched in early spring of next year. So we're actually going to be one of the first groups of guests that will be able to experience her. And Ama Sophia offers four different levels of accommodations, starting with some of their larger suites. And I think we only have one of those left, if memory serves me right. But
That's
there,
right.
Dale's nodding yes. There are twin balcony staterooms, there are French balcony staterooms, and then there are staterooms on the lower level of the ship that have a fixed upper window. And all of the cabins, very much like hotel rooms, they have an iMac entertainment system, and that allows you to play music, television. Wi-Fi is complimentary throughout your entire cruise, so just really comfortable accommodations. And so this image shows you a typical twin balcony room. And this is one of the unique things that AMA Waterways does. You can see that at the top left-hand corner there, there's actually your typical outdoor balcony. And so you can sit out there, you can enjoy the weather and all of the lovely views that are passing by. Or when the weather is maybe not so nice, perhaps it's raining or it's a little cooler outside, that's where that matching mirrored indoor balcony on the right-hand side is great. It has floor to ceiling windows. It has sort of those French balcony doors. And so you can stay inside, sit in the comfortable chairs and enjoy the world going by without being outside in the cold or the rain. So you get to enjoy that beautiful view. And then there are common areas on the ship for you to enjoy. So AMA offers multiple lounges on board so you can relax and enjoy your time on board. But of course, the main lounge is the big hub of activity. And this is where the cruise manager on the ship will give his or her port talk each evening so that you know exactly what's happening the next day and all of the things that you can participate in. It's also where we're going to enjoy some of the spectacular entertainment that happens on board. And Anna does a wonderful job of bringing on local talent in each of the ports of call so that you get a taste of the flavor of the culture where you're visiting. And then, of course, we're going to have some additional spectacular entertainment that Dale's going to fill you in on here in a little bit. And then the ship also has some smaller loungers. So if you just want to find a book and curl up by the fireplace and read, you can do that. There's a 24-hour cafe and lounge. And all of these are available for you to enjoy throughout the voyage. And when it comes to dining, I don't know if there are any foodies on the call today. I love a great meal. I see Dale's got his hand up there. AMA offers a few different dining venues on all of their ships, and they're all included experiences. So you'll have the main dining room, which is the picture that you see in the top left there, and it has about 170 seats in there. But given that there's only going to be about 155 guests on board, that means that it's going to be open seating. And so you can come and dine whenever and wherever you like at tables of 2, 4, 6, or 8 guests. And all of the meals are going to be elevated a la carte dining experiences. So you're not going to see a lunch or a dinner buffet on this ship. It's going to be sit down, plated, elevated food service, which is great. And there's also a private wine room. You can see that in the middle at the top of your screen there. It holds about 6 or 8 guests comfortably. So if you're traveling with a group of friends, you could reserve to enjoy that with them and have your dinner there one of the evenings during your week. And at the very top right, you can see an image of the chef's table. And the chef's table offers, it's a different restaurant at the back of the ship, and it has a completely separate menu where your meal is actually prepared in front of you. It only seats about 20 to 30 guests, so everyone will get a chance to dine in the chef's table during the course of the week. And of course, with all of the dining options, if you have any sort of dietary restrictions, just need to let us know what they are, and Amma will work really hard to create some equally impressive meals with your specific dietary needs in mind. And in terms of other onboard services, if you're the kind of cruiser who likes to maybe get a massage or get your hair done, even though it's a small ship, they still have spa facilities so they can help you with those things. And they have a wellness host on board. So there'll be wellness classes on and off the ship during the week. There's a fitness center. But my personal favorite are the guided cycling tours in many of the ports that we visit. Emma has a number of bikes on board, and so you can go on some pedaling adventures in the wonderful cities that we explore. And I will say one of the most popular areas of recreation is that beautiful rooftop heated pool. And I know this picture shows a bartender up there taking care of your every need. One of the things that we like about Amma Waterways is they actually allow us to bring our own things on board if we wish to. So some of the bigger ocean ships, some of the other cruise lines, they actually restrict you from bringing alcohol on board because, of course, they want to sell you their alcohol. But Amma is a little bit nice in that they allow you to bring it on and you can enjoy it anywhere on the ship. So maybe you stop and pick something up at duty free on your way over the pond, or maybe you just go on shore and bring back a special bottle of wine that you found. You're welcome to bring that back on board, enjoy it in the lounge, in the restaurant, by the pool, anywhere that you like. That's never a problem with Amma. And so, just kind of continuing on about what's included, pretty much everything is included with AMA. All of your meals are included, all of your drinks with your meals, so lunch and dinner, meaning unlimited beer, wine, and soft drinks, as well as they have a sip and sail program, which is essentially like a happy hour. And so you can enjoy those unlimited beverages later in the afternoon, leading up through your dinner, and of course, with lunch as well. And the other nice thing that's included are all of your excursions. So it's one thing to go travel this far, get on a ship and see the views from the ship, but you really want to get off the ship and explore these beautiful towns and villages. So all of the excursions are included with your cruise package. In some of the larger cities and towns, there can even be four, five, sometimes even six different choices for you to choose which you'd like to enjoy. And you get to decide what you want to see and do. It's really your vacation, and you have the flexibility of choice to make it your own and really see what interests you. And one of my favorite things that Amma does is they've just introduced the My Amma Cruise app. And so this is a phone app that has all sorts of great information for you to use before, during, and after your cruise. But what I really love is that over the course of your cruise, when you're going out in all of these beautiful tours and listening to the guides tell you about the history of everywhere that you're seeing, of course, you're going to take picture upon picture upon picture. And then you're going to go home and you're going to start scrolling through these hundreds of photographs and try to remember what you were taking pictures of. And you probably won't remember what some of them are. And so the nice thing is, if you take your pictures through this app, all of the notes that the tour guide gave you on each of those days that you were with them will automatically link to the pictures that you took. And so it forms your own digital photo album that you can refer back to. And you can even upload this to social media like Facebook or Instagram if you want to do that to share it with the people that you care about back home. Now, this is a lovely map of all of the different rivers around the world where Ama Waterways cruises, but we are here tonight to focus in specifically on the beautiful Danube River. And the itinerary that we're taking for this cruise is actually called the Romantic Danube. And if you choose to join us for this cruise, you're going to be going on what is probably the most popular river cruise choice for all first-time river cruisers. It's super popular. And there's even an optional pre-package if you wish to extend and maybe start your vacation a little early. So we're offering a pre-cruise land package in Prague before we join the cruise in Vilshofen. And from there, we're going to cruise down the Danube for 7 nights through to Budapest. And you could even add on an extra couple of days in Budapest at the end if that's something that you think you'd like to do. So the pre-cruise prod package, again, is not something that everybody has to do, but if you're interested in doing it, you can. And I know many of our guests have chosen to add this particular one because they've said, if we're going this far and we're going to be this close to Prague, why would we not want to take advantage of that? I can tell you that Prague is one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe. And so it's something that I personally highly recommend. And so if you choose to add this on, it's 3 nights in Prague. And what I love about the pre-cruise package is that our cruise manager, who is going to be leading us down the river on the Ama Sofia, they're actually going to join us for this pre-cruise tour. And so we'll have one consistent person for both the tour and the cruise. And while we're doing it, we're going to be staying in a 5-star hotel centrally located in Prague. And so you'll have daily breakfasts included, all of your luggage handling, and we're going to have some great sightseeing on day 2 and 3.
And Tyler,
Now,
I'm just gonna interrupt there.
mhm.
I think this was just so we know for our particular package. I know it said 3 days, but it's actually a 2 day pre-cruise in Prague, and then a 2 day post-cruise in Budapest if you want that option. So
Perfect. That's
yeah,
great. Thank you.
of course.
Now, I should tell you that this is an image of an e-flyer of this particular cruise. So if you haven't already seen it, it is available on the website cruise2remember.com, along with plenty of information in addition to what we're covering here this evening. It has everything from itinerary information to details about the ship, all of the inclusions and land packages, as well as the stateroom categories and pricing. So you can always go to cruiseremember.com to find this information. And of course, we're happy to connect with you one-on-one to answer any questions that you might have. Now, if you don't do the Prague pre-package and you're just going to join us for the cruise, which is totally fine, you're going to fly probably into Munich. And Vilshofen, where the cruise begins, is about 90 minutes south of Munich. And Vilshofen is basically the capital of the Bavarian region. It's actually where Pilsner beer was invented. So we're going to be overnighting in Vilshofen for the first night of the cruise. And what you're going to find when you arrive on the ship later that afternoon is that Emma's going to be bringing us the centuries-old Germanic event known as Oktoberfest. And so this is exclusive just for the guests on this cruise. There's actually a permanent tent set up right on the pier where our ship is docked. And it's a great time. If you've ever been to Oktoberfest, it's going to be the exact same experience. You've got the tent, you've got the beer, you've got the pretzels, all the musical celebrations, and it's super convenient because it's going to be happening right next to the ship. Now, the next day, we're going to go off cruising, and you're going to be arriving that morning in Passau, Germany. And this is known as the City of Three Rivers. So from here, you're going to have a choice of tours that you can enjoy that day. You could do a standard walking tour because we're really docked right in the heart of Passau. You can just basically walk off and you're right in the middle of Passau. Or you could do a guided cycling tour around the area, or you could even do a guided hiking experience because the Bissau Castle is right there. And it's right at the head of one of the three rivers, and you can actually hike up there with a guide. And when I say hike, it's basically just climbing a bunch of steps. It's not really a serious hike, but it's a great area to explore, and you get some spectacular views and pictures from the top of the castle looking down at the rivers. So this is one of the tours that we absolutely adore and highly encourage that people do if they're okay climbing some of those steps. Next is an overnight sailing, and the next country that we're going to visit is Austria. We're going to wake up in Linz, Austria. And when you're here, this is probably going to be the biggest decision day, or maybe the easiest decision day for our group, because of course we're on a music themed cruise. But here we have two full day tours to choose from. You can choose to do a full day tour up to Salzburg, which of course is home to Mozart and the Sound of Music, or you can go off to Český Krumlov, which is a beautiful mountain town in the Czech Republic. Both are incredible experiences, but I suspect as music lovers, probably most of us will do the Salzburg tour. But again, this is your cruise, so you can choose to do whatever you like. And as we start talking about all of these different options on each of the days of the cruise, I don't want you to start panicking about having to make these choices now because each day the cruise manager on board is going to tell us all about the next day's tours that are included. And the beauty is that you really don't have to decide. They say you should decide 24 hours before, but I've seen people decide the day of, right before they get on the bus. It's literally that easy, and you never have to worry about them being sold out. Every tour that they offer is going to happen if just one person wants to do it or if the entire ship wants to do it. The only exception would be the bike tours because there's only so many bikes on board. But all of the tours are included in the price again, and they're all going to take us for great tours and then make sure that we're back on board the ship in time for dinner before another overnight sail. Now, the next day is a double stop. We're actually going to be anchored in Weisenkirchen, and this is going to allow us to visit two beautiful towns in Austria. First off is Dürnstein, and this is home to massive apricot production. That's what they're known for. It's a beautiful little town on the hillside, and so you could do a guided hiking experience up to Richard the Lionheart's castle, which dates back to the 4th century. Pretty cool place. You can also go off and just explore the little town and all of the apricots, apricot brandy, liqueur, jams, barbecue sauce, you name it. And it's because it is such a small town, it doesn't take very long to tour around it. You're actually going to wander back to the ship and be on board for lunch. And then we take a short cruise off to Melk. And Melk has the oldest Benedictine abbey in the world. The acoustics in this place are spectacular. And you're also going to get a chance to see one of the most beautiful pipe organs in all of Europe. So some pretty cool stuff to see. Then again, we're going to sail overnight, ending up in what is always a highlight in the Danube, and that is to go off to the city of Vienna. And we'll be here for a very full day, and we actually stay late night so that we get to experience an entire day here. And you'll get a chance to do a sightseeing tour, which is done by coach and foot. So this is really the only city where you're basically not walking off the ship into the heart of the old town. Here in Vienna, you're still going to be in the heart of Vienna, but it's a huge metropolis. And the old part of Vienna is where everybody really wants to go and see. It's kind of the central area. And so we'll do a coach tour to see sort of the ring around Vienna, but then we'll actually be able to get off and do a walking tour in that old town. And so you can go and do some of that sightseeing on your own or with a guide, or you can do a cycling tour here as well. Or you can even go to Schönbrunn Palace, which is home to the Habsburg family. It's a pretty popular landmark in Vienna. So maybe you've been to Vienna before, you've seen some of the regular sites. This gives you an opportunity to maybe see something new that you haven't seen on one of your previous visits. Again, we do an overnight sailing, and the next day we're going to stop in Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia. And this is a very different cultural experience than all of the other countries that we're stopping in. Again, here we have a choice. So you could do a walking tour, a cycling tour, or a hiking tour that takes you up to the castle that you can see here in the picture. Again, lots of options, but here we actually have the afternoon free. And so my recommendation is that even though you probably have done some walking around and shopping in the previous city of Vienna, when you were doing that, you may have balked at some of the prices when you're there because Vienna is not an inexpensive city. But when we're in Bratislava, it's great to go downtown to the core because they have almost all the same shops as Vienna, but for about 30% less of the price. So if you like to shop, if that's your thing, that's my shopping tip for you. And when you finish shopping, you can simply wander back to the ship and you'll be there in time for dinner with your old and new friends. And then once again, you guessed it, we're going to do an overnight sail. And this time we end up in our final destination in our last country of Hungary. So we're going to end up in Budapest. And it's one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe, especially in the evening. It's lit up like a Christmas tree. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we get an overnight experience here in Budapest. So you're going to have an opportunity again to do the regular sightseeing tour, which is a combination of coach and walking because Budapest is actually two different cities split by the city, or sorry, split by the Danube River. You have the city of Buda on one side, and then the city of Pest on the other. And so both have a great variety of sites that you'll want to see. And so you can do that by coach. And then if you wish to do a cycling tour here, you can do that as well. Or you can simply just get off and do a hiking tour on your own. So some really great options to enjoy Budapest. And you will not want to miss seeing it at night when everything gets lit up. Now, if this isn't enough, I mentioned earlier that this journey is being enhanced as a wine immersion cruise. So, what that means is that we're going to have a local European wine host on board with us for the entire week, and they're going to have a great in depth knowledge of the region. And so they're going to be hosting two separate wine tastings with interactive discussions over the course of the week. They're also going to curate a wonderful food and wine pairing dinner for us on board over the course of the cruise. And when we're in these different ports of call, there will be some additional wine themed excursions that you can choose from. So that could be a visit to a winery or a tour or something like that, but some great wine themed options. And not to worry if you're not a wine drinker, there'll still be some great other beverages for you to enjoy. But what makes this cruise super special is that Heather Rankin and her musician friends, Kim Dunn, Lisa McIsaac, and JB Robinson, will all be on board, plus her newly announced special guest, Jimmy Rankin. So this is really going to be a once in a lifetime journey. And Dale, I'll maybe turn it over to you so that you can tell us a little bit more about what that means.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, we're super excited. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dale. I'm the cruise sales manager at Expedia Cruises. And I'm also an actor. I've been a singer for most of my life. And at the beginning of this video, Heather talked about how we met, and it was about 25 years ago. We did a musical together. So we've been friends for so long. And when we were putting together this cruise idea and we wanted to lean into the music and culture, I just thought, oh gosh, I had to get my friend Heather on board, and this is going to be great. And so we locked her in with her friends and everything. And okay, we're having a lot of fun with this, and there's a lot of interest. And it's like, well, how can we just ramp this up just a little bit? So it's like, and Heather was like, call Jimmy. Let's bring Jimmy on board. Let's get him involved as well. So we're super stoked that we've got Heather and Jimmy. So welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come along on this great excursion with us. We're really excited. Um, so Heather, I'm going to start with you. Just kind of go through a little bit. I'm just gonna have a casual conversation, kind of about the music, the culture, what attracted you to this type of itinerary, based on, because I know both of you have traveled the world a fair bit, but in conversation with Heather, you didn't really see a lot when you're on the road. Maybe one of you can. I think both of you are muted right now, so I think we'll have to if you could both unmute that, both Heather and Jimmy. Um,
Am I there?
However, yeah, there you go. Okay,
When
perfect. And
Roger.
so maybe you can speak to that. Well, oh, there we go. Jimmy's unmuted too. So maybe you can speak to that. Like I know you've traveled the world, but you've not done anything quite like this. And when you were touring, what was that like for you?
Jimmy, would you like to speak to that? when we were traveling. Well,
Back in
generally
the days.
when you're touring, and we did a lot of touring back in the 1990s, mostly in Europe, in the States and Canada, in the UK, and basically sometimes you only have like an afternoon off before sound check, and sometimes you'll have a day off. So it's not like you're a tourist. But I think when we toured a lot in the UK, and we used to try and get out and see, all those great old towns and cities. And of course, when you had a day off, you'd try to get out and see the sights. So, but generally, as a musician, you're not really, that's not your focus. Your focus is your gig, and that takes all day to prepare for. So, but when not making music, both of us have done quite a bit of traveling. So I've been, and Heather, I've been all over the globe. So as a tourist, so my wife and I and kids love to travel, love to sample food and wine and different cultures and meet people. So this is very exciting, this trip. I've never been to these countries. I've been to Germany. Um, but not as a tourist. I've been through Austria on a train about, God, decades and decades ago. So, but the Danube and seeing these old historic towns and these iconic cities, it's amazing. So I'm really excited about it. And plus, we're going to have all the musicians on the tour. We all know one another. We've worked together. We're all East Coasters, so. It's going to be really exciting musically. I'm really looking forward to that part of it as well.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And Heather, how about you? I know we had talked about a little bit about, to kind of go on with what Jimmy was saying, when you're focused on your gig, and I've done a little bit of that as an actor and a singer as well. Like, and even last night when we were performing, you're in the zone, right? And you're not about touring around, and you got to be careful of, what you're eating and what you're drinking because you're focused on your work. And so sometimes it's literally you show up in town, you do a sound check, you do your gig, you go to your hotel, and you're gone the next day. So what about this is certainly is exciting for you, Heather.
Well, you're right. When you're working, you have to stay rested and you have to stay healthy, and so you have to behave. But back in the late '80s, when I was in my teens, I went backpacking uh, in Europe and saw a lot. But when you get older, there are different things that you want to see that maybe you didn't experience as a younger person. And also, a Eurail pass was the way I got around Europe. And so I couldn't go to places like Yugoslavia and the places in farther east that were not covered by the pass. So I'm really, and that's this part of the world. And I'm really looking
Mhm.
forward to learning and seeing and experiencing all those cultures that I missed out as a teenager. And I didn't drink wine. So I'm really looking forward to that too.
So we're gonna be making up for lost time a little bit
Yes.
with this wine immersion cruise, right?
Yeah. And I'm excited about the music
Yep.
too, because there'll be such a variety. Like Jimmy's got a huge body of solo work. And of course, we have the family music that was, made over the course of 10 years. And I have some of my own stuff. And Kim Dunn has his own material, and Lisa does as well because she's toured the world with as
Mhm.
Madison Violet. So it's going to be, and she plays fiddle as well. So we can
Yeah.
always give you a taste of a Cape Breton Square set if people are interested in trying that out, or if they already know, we can work that into we're like wide open. We're going to try lots of different things.
Yeah, like I
Right.
was saying, we've all worked together, so you know, so we all know one another musically. So uh, it's going to be very exciting, I think, Heather,
Yeah,
to
it's going to be
just
fun.
a show.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
yeah, I
That
think
song
I
I'm going
think
to let you do, Jimmy, is going to be really fun.
that one song Jimmy's gonna
I
get to
know,
do,
and
so
I'm
don't miss
really
it.
I'm
looking
kidding.
forward to
I'm so
that.
kidding.
I can't sleep at night thinking about which song shall I
Which,
do.
well, yeah,
And I'm nervous
she's
that
gonna have a
Heather might
wheel.
yell at me. I don't. Right.
Oh, I'll be cracking the whip.
Yeah. Again, she was telling me last night she's gonna have this big wheel built with all of your songs on it, and she's gonna spin it once, and wherever it lands, you better be ready. That's what's gonna do.
Oh,
That's what you're
okay.
gonna do.
I'm not
So
sweating now for sure.
So obviously, Tyler has talked a fair bit about, this is a wine immersion cruise, which is, it's not very common for these river cruises. This is something very special that we wanted to add, for that added value. And so we called it Celtic Tides and Vintage Vines. So we're bringing that Celtic flavor into the Danube River. We're leaning into that wine immersion. And the byline that we kind of came up with when we were putting this package together was where Cape Breton's heart meets Europe's soul. And I really love that. And that really resonates with me as a Cape Bretoner myself, as a musician, and loving Europe. Maybe one of you can speak to that in terms of like what connection, what do you think you're looking forward to in terms of bringing your Cape Breton culture, or do you see any connections with the European culture and what we're going to do there? I know it's kind of up in the air right now as to what we're doing, but do you have any thoughts
The
about
beauty
that,
of
Heather?
music is that it it resonates no matter what part of the world you're in.
Right.
And that was always our experience wherever we took the Rankin family music. And I'm sure that's what you experienced too, Jimmy, when you worked solo. Um, Music is the universal language, and particularly when you can have a wide variety of genres, um, and engage people in different ways, like with lively tunes and ballads and all of that in between. I think that will be really fun for people.
Absolutely. And and maybe Jimmy can comment on the next part, but I had heard once there was an interview that Raylene had, and someone said, "Who are the Rankins? What are you?" And she was like, "We're not anything. I don't know what we are," or whatever it was, because you had such you mentioned universal appeal, and your versatility was great. You during all these old Cape Breton sets, and Jimmy, I know you've leaned into almost like that mainstream adult contemporary pop, but there's still that little bit of that East Coast Celtic flavor, and same thing with Heather, right? So you really kind of keep people guessing a little bit with some of your music, and I think that speaks to the universality of what you guys do and what you are
It wa-
going to bring to
it
this
was always a
cruise. And
challenge with record companies and promoters where to categorize us because we didn't really fit into any one particular genre.
but you fit into every
And
genre almost, really, right? Yeah, which is great.
that's part
That's
of
what
what
I
made
think
it
really
special.
made it was always complicated because back in those days, when you were with a label, and record stores back in those days, they had to put you in categories whether it was country or pop or folk or world music. But we really kind of crossed over a lot of different genres. But as Heather was saying, I think, you know, we knew that that was our strong point because we loved and grew up with all different kinds of music, primarily initially Celtic, but then we were exposed to all different other genres of music. So we incorporated all those genres in some way or another into our records and our shows.
Yeah.
And
Which
I
especially
the
in
did.
your
band,
writing, in your writing too, Jimmy. Um,
yeah.
like you
Well, yeah,
write
when I
some
wrote
country
stuff,
and some more poppy stuff and some,
yeah, we had,
yeah.
and also it gave us access to radio. But I think that was very much the strong point of the group is that we appealed to different facets. It wasn't just one style of music. And I remember when we started playing folk festivals in Canada, and then going into the States and in Europe. It was like at those folk festivals, you would do, little workshops, and then at the end of the folk festival, you would do the last night you'd do a big show, and throughout that
Gotcha.
weekend, you'd amass like all these different people who loved like the Gaelic singing or step dancing or fiddle music or, whatever original songs. So we had quite a diverse audience. And still do, that music is still speaking to people as I travel across the country. It still resonates with people.
Yeah.
Well, I will add on to that because Heather and I were, like we said earlier, we were doing a gig last night at Acadia University, big Christmas show, and our producer of the show was telling me afterwards, he was like, I work in the athletic department, and I was walking past the gym, and there were three or four young women, probably, first year, second year. They were working out in the gym. They were part of the athletic. And what was the music that they were listening to get their, their pump on? They had Mull River Shuffle blasting in the gym as they were lifting weights. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He was like, "No word of a lie." So the fact that, like today and for kids of that age, right, they're still psyched by it, and they're still motivated by it. So I thought that was really cool. So that was actually kind of really
Well,
fun to
what's
hear.
interesting
Yeah.
about Rankin music, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, not at
what
all.
I found out is that, but we started making records back in the late 1980s, and then we got a lot of radio play, and uh, we had a lot of exposure on television and radio. And I still hear today when I do my shows that these people coming, they'll say to me when, usually after the shows, I go out and sign. Heather probably does too, and just to meet people. But a lot of people say, "You were my first concert when I was a kid," and they have their kid with them, and they say, "This is my baby's first concert." So it makes you feel old, but it's also a good thing. So I think
No,
that
that's amazing. It's
people
yeah.
play their Rankin music for their kids, and kids grow up, and it's not like we promote that music, but it's living on through that kind of exposure.
And that's what
That's
makes
that's
me most
exactly it. Yeah.
excited about, sorry, Dale, that's what makes
No,
me
no,
most
please.
excited about you coming along, Jimmy, is that when I do my solo work, I can do a couple of Rankin tunes, but when you're there, it opens the door to so much more, and
Yeah.
it's just going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like Lisa and Jamie and
Him,
Kim, we've all worked with them. They're Cape Breton. Well, Jamie's an honorary Cape Bretoner, but we've worked with those artists for years. So, and they play with everybody. They're terrific musicians. So
yeah.
they know our music, so we can, the set list will be wide open. So
Yeah. And with that, I think that's a really good point, at least to my next question or next point of conversation. This isn't going to be like going to a Heather Rankin show. It's not going to be like going to a typical Jimmy Rankin show or even a Rankin family show. Where you go to the Rebecca Cohen Auditorium in Halifax, for example, and everyone's on stage and show's over and you go home. When the show's over, they're right there with you, right? These artists are going to become your friends. You're going to have a pilsner that Tyler talked about
oh,
earlier.
true.
Yeah, and
Three.
or three, and outside of the gigs, and you're going to be going on excursions with everybody, and you're going to be going, having a glass of wine and really getting to know. So it's that next level of intimacy, with these performances, and so the performances are going to be kind of that, up close and personal, almost like that VIP event, right? The select few get the wristband, but everybody on this ship is going to be wearing the proverbial wristband. So I think that's really interesting, and I think a lot of our guests who have already booked and secured their spot, they're really excited about knowing that, okay, this is my vacation, but I get to share it with these people and I get to learn something new about them. It's not, like I said, it's not going to be that typical just, concert that you go to. And so maybe maybe both or one of you can speak to that, right? Because perhaps you're very used to, you're on stage and there's that fourth wall, per se, right? You break it to talk to the audience, but you really don't have a lot of interaction with the audience when you're doing your big gigs or you're touring. So
Yeah,
maybe you
I
can
hope that we're
give
able
me
to
your
keep
thoughts
it
on.
open and casual. And if there's somebody in the audience who sings, like maybe the show will go on a bit longer, or the music will continue on and people can jump in and participate. And like I said, maybe we can teach people to do a Cape Breton Square set, or it,
Yeah, it's
it
I'd
it's
really
wide
want it to
open.
be
Yeah,
a Cape Breton kitchen party, right? So
exactly.
and
Yeah.
hopefully the captain won't be pulling the plug at 3 a.m. saying, "Jimmy, go to bed."
Oh, he will be
uh,
pulling the plug on the ship. Hopefully not. Oops.
Or
Well,
throwing us overboard.
it's going to be a lot of fun. I was saying I'm looking forward to it. Like we know all the musicians, um, and it's a very nice variety of music. Like Lisa McIsaac plays. I mean, at the heart, she's a Celtic musician, but she's also been with Brenly, uh, Mad
Macacan. Macacan.
Mad Violet or Madison Violet, they're called now. And I've worked with them, but they write songs and they're fantastic. So you get that from them, and then we can do Celtic stuff, and it's just kind of it's. I think I'm kind of looking forward to the spontaneity of it, and it's going to be
Yeah.
kind of like an acoustic uh, show, I would think.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We will definitely have you plugged in a little bit, right? But it's such an intimate space, so
yeah.
you're not going to need that big, stadium type production sound. It's literally going to have, you will be amplified, but that intimacy, that kitchen party type feel, right?
I
So
am
so
bringing
so
some
yeah.
Large Fender amps.
Great.
Just
Are you going to be turning it up to 11, right? So okay, great.
And
uh,
Jimmy's an amazing dancer.
Oh yes, I with my two left feet, you should see those steps.
This modern dancer.
I think Daniel Day-Lewis did a movie called My Left Foot, and
Yeah.
Jimmy Rankin's going to star in a new musical called My Two Left Feet. So we'll see how that goes when we get to Prague. Um, just a couple more points because I don't want to take too much time up for everybody. But I know Tyler and I, when we were putting this together, we're just really excited, and what we love about river cruising. Compared to the ocean liners on those big ships that have like 10,000 people, you might run into someone one day and never see them again, and you kind of lack that intimacy, that connection with people. But on these smaller boats, you really do get to know people, and by day three, you know people's names, and by the end of the cruise, you are literally sharing contact information because you make these strong connections, and I think that's very indicative of us as Cape Bretoners as well, right? When we hook up with people and we meet them and we're like, okay, you're family, right? There's that connection. So that's what we kind of wanted to create with this trip, and why we wanted to do an ocean cruise, because it's special connections. You're creating these shared moments, these shared memories. So what do you think? What do you think is that you can say, if there's anybody who's perhaps on the fence about that, you're going, like maybe they've never cruised before, or they're used to the big stuff, right? Or maybe they're shy and they're thinking, I don't know what would I say to Heather, and that's awkward, and I don't like people, I'm a little shy, like so. I don't know
Well, you have
what
to
could
you
you
have to
make.
pay me to talk to me first.
Gotta pay you to shut up sometimes, Heather. I've known you a long time. So yeah. So if anybody was on the fence, perhaps about that, and I don't think anybody should be. I think this is going to be absolutely amazing. So.
Well, you know what I think well, all of us, and we're friendly East Coasters, and the East Coast people are known for their openness and, to people. And all of the years that we toured across Canada as the Rankins and then as solo artists, I've there's so many people that have come from other places in Canada and other places in the world to come to Mabu, where we're from, in Cape Breton. So I guarantee you that if you're on this cruise and you have never been to East Coast Canada or Nova Scotia or Cape Breton, you'll probably be booking your next vacation to come to Cape Breton if you hang out with us for a while.
There's that draw, right? There's something about it. I
Well,
don't know what it is.
Well, we
Heather,
want people
Heather,
to have
and
fun. That's
Heather
that
and
fun.
Cookie and Raylene started a pub called the Red Shoe Pub in Mabu, and you go in and you look at the guest list book, and people come from all over the planet to that place. It's a famous little pub in Mabu, and they just because they've heard the Rankins and the Rankin sisters sing. So that's my opinion. So
You've said it well. We just
Yeah,
want people to have fun
yeah.
and
right.
don't wait. Come along. Come along.
You
Come
you will
along.
regret it. Why didn't I buy my ticket? Why?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's gonna be magical, and I think you've both captured it perfectly. It's that connection, it's that hospitality, it's that openness, and it's that Cape Breton kindness, right? I think there's not an there's not enough kindness in the world, it seems, these days. And I think, leading with kindness, leading with openness and humility and humanity. I think, and I think for a lot of people, or at least for me, like that's what Cape Breton exemplifies. And growing up with the Rankin family, and now knowing both of you, and especially Heather, I've known her for 25 years, right? That friendship, that connection, it's really important. And so I really hope people take that away from this experience. I know that we have every time we've cruised. And I think, it's always good to have, 144 more best friends
Yeah,
after a cruise, right?
well
Yeah.
said.
Can I, some last thoughts from you, Heather, you, Jimmy, if there's anything that you'd like to leave our
It's
people
going to
with.
be nice and warm there that time of the year, right?
It's going to be perfect time
Yeah,
of
I
year.
think June
Absolutely.
is usually the perfect time to be there, May and June. Then after that, it gets a bit hot. So uh,
Nice.
I think it's just going to be a blast. I'm really excited about it. I've never done one of these. I was on a cruise years and years ago when we first started out, but this is a smaller, more luxurious cruise, and it's more intimate. And we're going to be touring and going to these historic, iconic places. I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's exciting. I'm really
Out
excited.
of so Jimmy, out of all this, I know you were. I saw you watching Tyler's screen diligently with the destinations that we're going to. You might have even been taking notes. So, if you remember, is there one aspect of this cruise or one destination, one of those snapshots that you're thinking, oh, that's the place for me. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
All of them I'm really excited to really go to. The one I've been sort of curious about is the Slovakia, Bratislavia.
Yeah,
Um,
Bratislava. Yeah,
Yeah, Bratislava. It's apparently the wine and the food and the culture. I mean, they're all culturally rich, famous, historic, iconic places. But I don't know. That's kind of one that's jumping out at me right now. But I'll
okay.
change my mind tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'm sort of doing a
Amazing.
bit of reading. Like I know sort of bits and pieces about all of these places, but I've never been to them. I've been to Italy and France and Spain
Yeah,
and Greece but not these places. So I'm sort of doing a little bit of research now. I'm very exciting. So I
right
think
on.
there's something about all of them that I'm going to really enjoy, but mostly the historic aspect of all of them. So.
Nice, nice. And same question, Heather. Is there any one of these places in particular that's jumping at you?
I'm
Yeah.
especially looking forward to hanging out and making friends and bringing along some family. But I've heard a lot about Oktoberfest, so I'm really looking forward to that part. And again, I'm looking forward to what all of the places like Jimmy. Um, I've never been to any of them, and
Yeah.
actually, I've been to Vienna, and but the rest of them I've never been. So it's all going to be
Nice.
new to me and
Right.
exciting.
I know Heather was telling me yesterday that she's already started taking sewing lessons. She's pulled some drapes off of her window, so she's going to recreate the outfits from Sound of Music, and she's going to be spinning around Salzburg wearing curtains, so which is really great. And I know you did said you're bringing family with you, and I also know that you're going to be one of your sisters is going to be joining you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's really great. That again, it's family upon family upon family. So we're really really excited. So.
yeah.
Thanks.
Got it.
Thank you. Sorry,
Sorry, go ahead.
Jimmy.
I was going to say something smart, but that's not.
Okay.
I was going to say, if a lot of the Rankins showed up, no more room left on the boat.
The more the merrier. The more the merrier, I promise. So
Anyway,
thank you both for taking time. I'm gonna kind of throw it back over to Tyler to wrap us up here. But thanks, Jimmy. Thank you, Heather, for
Thank
chatting with
you.
me a little bit. And we're so super stoked for this. So Tyler, I'll just send it off to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dale. And thank you, Heather and Jimmy. We couldn't be more excited about this. We know it's going to be a blast. And the more the merrier for sure. If any of you on the call are watching this afterwards, if you are interested in joining us, there still is some space. We are getting very close actually to the end of sales for this. So encourage you to take a look if it's something you think you would like to do and get in touch with us. All of the information is at a website, cruise2remember.com. That's cruise2remember.com. And there you can find that flyer I mentioned. You can see all the information, and you can also get in touch with us if you would like to reserve your spot or just have some questions answered. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving a little bit of your Monday evening to us. It has been a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to June to cruising the Danube with you all.
Can't wait.
Woo!
Can't wait. It's gonna be really exciting.
Fantastic.
So,
All right.
okay.
Thanks so much,
Great.
everyone. Have a great
Thanks,
evening.
everybody.
Thank you.
See you soon. Okay.
See ya.
Bye-bye.